hands, who all in this room has a Facebook account? That's almost everybody in this room. So for almost everybody in this room, everything that you have ever done or have ever said on Facebook is stored in a database, along with the information of millions of other people. In the past few months, there's been a lot of talk about the government collecting and using a lot of data, but they never go into exactly how they're using all of this data. So I'd like to talk to you all about the technique that the government, as well as many industries, have begun to use over the past few years to examine large amounts of data. This technique is called data mining, and I would like to inform you about what it is and how it functions, as well as provide some examples to show that data mining can be both invasive to one's own privacy, as well as non-invasive. Although you can go very technical and very descriptive with the definition of data mining, the overlying idea is to have programs and applications run through these massive amounts of data and shrink it down into something smaller that a data analyst or somebody, a human, could actually look through and understand. One of the classic examples is to consider a clothing store. They take all of the data that they can find about themselves and everything around them and try and use it to increase their sales. And by combining everything that they can find, they notice a correlation where bright clothes will sell better when it's sunny outside, and that darker clothes will sell better when it's cloudy outside. So in a response to finding this trend, they look at the weather and either move the bright or the cool colors up to the front of the store and increase their sales. Now, this takes two completely different concepts, the weather for the day and the sales of clothes by color, and uses them and examines tons of other unknown variables and creates a correlation with all of this data. To me, this is personally fascinating, and it's completely mind-boggling that a computer and a program is capable of finding this correlation between all of this different data. So now that you've seen this example, I would like to move to a more practical example. An article by Cynthia Rudin from the magazine Computer talks about New York City's electric system. She cites that over 94,000 miles of electric wire is present in and underneath New York City. If one of those wires were to break, it could take days to find where in New York City that outage is and repair it. So in order to address this, in 2011, data miners begun assembling data banks that date as old as the 1880s, all the way up to the modern databases of today, and tried to put them all together into a single fluid database that they would then attempt to data mine in order to figure out where potential problems could arise in the New York map in the future. Because all of the data that they're working with is maps and locations and types of wiring, no personal information is involved, and it can be seen as non-invasive because it doesn't invade anybody's privacy. However, not every instance of data mining will protect your privacy, and the recent events over the past few years have shown that. I would like to cover a topic that anyone who answered yes to my original question should be concerned about. The government has a database called PRISM, which stands for Planning Tool for Resource Integration, Synchronization, and Management. This is a database that simultaneously collects large amounts of data as well as assembles it into a database. According to Leo Killion, a technology reporter from the BBC, a large number of companies are actively sharing data with PRISM. This includes Microsoft, Skype, Google, YouTube, Yahoo, Facebook, AOL, and Apple, just to name some of the big ones. Until Edward Snowden revealed this back in July and compromised his own safety, PRISM had been kept a secret by the government since 2007. Because of the secrecy and the large scale of data being collected, a lot of people have considered it invasive of our personal privacy. However, the NSA's director, Gen Keith Alexander, justified that PRISM's existence was a legitimate operation by claiming that they had thwarted more than 50 terrorist attacks since 9/11. This raises interesting questions of just how far the government should be able to go in the name of security, as well as how much personal information that the government should be allowed to collect on its citizens, especially through large companies. So in conclusion, we live in a world where there is more data than any person or group is able to keep track of. I hope that through what I've told you today about data mining and how it is used has given you a better picture of how the rising amount of data in the world is being dealt with. The next time you check your Facebook, I urge you to take a minute and consider just how much information is truly out there on the web and how it's going to be used in our lifetimes to change our future for better or for worse.